Hi, Scrappy friends. I have a layout for you that is using that tic-tac-toe board that I made. And this is going to be for a challenge on the Victoria Marie Facebook page group. And if you're not aware of this group, Victoria Marie from YouTube, has a Facebook group and a design team, and us girls come up with different challenges to post. So right now, I believe we're up to 3 challenges a week because we have a sketch challenge every week, and we have a hump day challenge, which is on Wednesday, and then a weekend challenge. And this is for the Wednesday challenge. And I am just adding some modeling paste right now, and I mixed a little bit of a dark gray, like a charcoal type of color, of paint into my modeling paste. I like to do this because the paint with acrylic paint, since it's a little thicker, it helps keep the body of the texture paste still decently thick, as opposed to like using sprays and mists. It can really make it watery and mess with the texture, and I find that I like a thicker modeling paste, but that's just all preference. So I'm randomly putting the stencil around, and that stencil is from Amy Tan from her last collection, I believe, the Rise and Shine collection. She had those, and I decided that I wanted to try to mimic that cake, and so I remembered that I had gold embossing powder, which I think I know I used it last month on my challenge, and I didn't realize that until after. I use this like embossing powder like maybe once a month, and I'll just remember that I have it. And so one technique I like to do is add it to embossing or to the modeling paste, and generally I like to let this sit overnight because when it's really dry, then the modeling paste doesn't bubble up. But I did not do that because I was very impatient, and I just wanted to work on my layout while my juices were flowing. So the paste did kind of bubble a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. So really I just went over it a couple of times, but tried not to let my heat gun sit on it too long so it didn't completely bubble up too much. I did let it sit for a few minutes before I put my heat gun to it as well. And I really like the way that turned out with the gold, but you still see that dark color underneath. And so now I'm building my layers. And for this challenge, I am asking people to try to pick 3. It would be cool if you could do 3 in a row, but I'm all for if you just see 3 squares that you want to use. If you go back to the beginning, there's a whole bunch of textures, and there's just different types of pictures. I tried to add a couple of different like font type or phrase sayings in there because sometimes I like to use a word or something or a meaning behind like a poem to help inspire me. And I really enjoy using inspiration or like pieces. So like a picture or like a mood board type of thing, something that is visual. I'm very visual. So if I see something, that generally will spark some kind of inspiration to me. I can find inspiration just like in the grocery store sometimes. It's weird. You can see a color of a different type of box or something, and that will pique my inspiration, and I'll think of something scrapbooking. So I really enjoy like going on Pinterest and looking at boards. And the great thing is you can find people who have done these boards before. Like I put this board together. I just picked random pictures. One of the pictures, the glass with the sunlight, that was one that I had actually taken myself. I decided that I wanted to have that lined card for journaling. And I really liked the way that it looked kind of off to the bottom. There it kind of brings a diagonal, even though it's kind of opposite from what I did with the modeling paste, but it follows the modeling paste pretty well. So now I'm going to put up this sticker because it reminded me of some of the font that was in the inspiration piece. And this is from either Pink Fresh Studio or I think it's Pink Fresh Studios. I think it was in one of their kits. And I really I really liked that sticker, but in the end it is going to go because I just kind of don't feel it. So I took different papers I used some from the confetti 6x6 pad and some of the fancy that from the Simple Stories. I really liked the colors, and then that copper color dot paper, I actually used my copper acrylic paint with a foam pad and a stencil, and I just did that myself. And that paper is like a really nice paper, so you can see all the flakes and stuff. It really reminded me of that shoe and that bow. So for my inspiration pieces that I am definitely using, I was using the left side. So my paper looks a lot like that, like rock or like geode, whatever it was, that you could see all the different like textures in it, and I love that. And this paper reminded me of that, so I had to use this paper. So now I'm just kind of looking for like embellishments and stuff, and I actually have a really hard time, and I've found that lately since I've been trying to go a little bit more simpler with my pages, that I've been using less and less embellishments, which is odd because I love embellishments, but I've just been finding that, so I might have to go through my embellishments and kind of layer them so that I can use more. And I thought about using that twine, and I am going to come back to it because just right now it just doesn't work for how I see like maybe this layout going. And I really like that bow. I took that confetti paper and used the Maggie Holmes bow die and ran that through my cutter, and then just, made up the bow. I did that beforehand. So I'm just kind of looking through some pieces. I really like that piece that says Everyday Blessings, and it's like in a light blue. And because of some of the different hints of blues and teals, I really think that that works really nicely on there. And then I found that I think that's a Heidi Swap tag. It's a vellum tag. And I had stamped something on there a long time ago, but you couldn't barely see it. So I just tried to put it so that you couldn't see the stamping and just kind of let it tuck out a little bit. And I really like the way that that pink looks back there. And then I'm going to spell My Crew with these coppery colors. And this is kind of trying to tie the gold from the embossing powder, the copper from that paper. So I'm just kind of trying to tie these things together so that it kind of helps everything work together. And I put the year down at the bottom. And I think this is when I kind of think about the fact that I'm not caring for that I love this. I did use a Simple Stories piece of paper like that says Leaving a Legacy. I really like that. So I'm going to use these wood veneer. Yeah, here goes that. I wasn't feeling it. Sometimes that happens. And that right there is a Midori, my traveler's notebook. I got that from the Amy Tan class. It's just like the one that she uses, that teal color. It's gorgeous. I actually had extra modeling paste and I put it on the inside of there. So I'm going to add a couple of these. And I actually take one off. Not that I don't like the two up at the top. I just kind of, one, I really like these hearts. So if I can make them last, I only have so many. So I can make them last and use one on another layout. That's great. So here's where I'm actually finally deciding to stick some of that twine down. And I really like this because it's a really thin type of hemp twine. I'm not sure if it's hemp, but it looks a little like a really thin hemp. And it's a lot softer than just a regular hemp twine. And so I add it to the top and the bottom just to kind of, so it's not just in one place. And then I'm going to use this copper color, and I'm almost done with this. I really thought I needed something to bring everything in. And sometimes I find using a ruler really helps so that it gets straight, because I will draw a wonky line like no other. And then I'm going to add my journaling, and I just pretty much talk about, because this picture was taken when we just moved to Fort Bliss, and we had just gotten back together after being apart for almost a year, or just about a year. And so we were really excited to see each other and to be together. And I just talked kind of about how comfortable the girls were with us moving and all this change, and how excited we were to have our stuff, because it took 3 months to get our stuff. So I really wanted to document and talk about that, because that's something really big that happened to us in our life. And I want our kids to be able to remember that as a fun time and a good time. So I'm just going to add some enamel type shapes around, and I'm just clustering them in the different clusters and what I think looks good. And I just use random ones, kind of thinking about the different shapes that I have already. And then that's going to be it. So guys, if you want to join in on this challenge, you can head over to the Victoria Marie Facebook group and find this challenge in the pin. Obviously, if you watch this like in the later future, you won't be able to find it right away. But we try to have a file that has lists all the challenges that we do. So look for that, and I would love to see what you guys come up with. So if anybody wants to play along with this challenge, link me and share, and I'd love to see what you're working on. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.